Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Shop Philosophy. As always, I'm your host, Killian-hobbs, the managing editor for think-liberty.com and the news editor for the Being Libertarian family of publications. As always, you can follow us on all of our social media feeds, check out our video feeds and the like on YouTube, and listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure to hit the little subscribe bell, both on YouTube as well as on our websites, being-libertarian.com, think-liberty.com, and rationalstandard.com, to make sure that you get daily updates for all of the great informative articles that we put out. Now, for today's episode, it's going to be a little bit of a short one. Normally, I try to put together at least, about half an hour worth of content to go over with you guys. Today's episode is going to be a little bit on the shorter side, though, mainly because I just kind of want to wrap things up for the year. I won't be having an episode next week. However, you will see me again in 2018. I was hoping to record a few episodes ahead of time and kind of get ahead of the groove so that I could have an episode to come out on the 27th, which will be next Thursday. However, just based on how kind of things are laying themselves out for me, it doesn't seem that I'll be able to do that. So this will be the last time that you hear from me, at least in audio form, before the end of the year. You will still see the articles that I've been writing and putting out. I'll still be able to find time to sit down and get those hammered out for you, so don't have to worry about those if you follow my Bad Arguments series, or if you take a look at the weekly news roundup I do for Canadian news. There's also the more recent total news roundup that comes out on being-libertarian.com every week. It comes out on Sundays, and it wraps up all of the major news stories from all of the regions that we cover. So right now we cover Canada, US, the UK, and Europe in general, South and East Asia, and also just general news pieces as they come out. So major things like the Yellow Vest movement, or the up and down of that California tax that was coming through. All of that type of information is going to be kind of summarized for you guys so that all your major news stories are in one place, so you don't miss anything big that happened in the previous week. With all that said, main thing I wanted to do, like I said, was just sort of wrap up 2018 a little bit and just go through a few things. So one of the first things I want to do, the first episode of this month, or it might have been the last episode of November. I can't remember the exact which exact episode it was. However, during that episode, I said that I was going to give a shout out in the last episode of December to the people that actually took on the challenge that I proposed. For those of you that missed the challenge, it's taking on something new every month so that you can grow and develop and learn how to do things that you don't know how to do. Even if it's something as simple as picking up a small skill that you might not have had before, diving into something that you know that you're not necessarily skilled or knowledgeable in and making a point of growing that knowledge. Just doing something outside of your normal routine to kind of expand the areas that you have some understanding in and expand what you as a person are capable of doing. So in that episode, I did say that I would put it out there that anyone who is looking to take on this challenge, they can message me with what they want to do for December. I can either go through it on the episode or not if they choose, and then I would give them a little bit of a shout out on the episode here. Now, I was a little sad that I only heard back from 2 people. Now, that's not to blame any of the people in here, not in here, of course. It's just me in this room recording this. I mean, listening in general. Really should have worded that better. But anyway, only 2 people so far did actually send me a message saying that they were going to do something for December. Again, this is a monthly thing, of course. So if you do decide that you want to take on the challenge for January, then you can actually send me an email directly at killian.hobbs@being-libertarian.email. Now, I know that sounds very strange, the .email. It threw me for a loop the first time we had that set up as well. But like I said, you can send me an email at killian.hobbs@being-libertarian.email and tell me what it is that you're looking to do to take on this challenge in January. And again, I'm going to be doing this every month because I think that it's something that really can help with growth. And that's kind of what 2018 was about in general, at least for me. I mean, for myself, I kind of went through the motions with my normal day job. I might have explained on previous episodes that I'm a sales manager by trade. It's what I do as my day-to-day work outside of anything I do with Being Libertarian or Think Liberty or any other side projects that I have going on. My primary job is as a sales manager. And for a good chunk of it, I kind of just went through the motions with things. I was still doing my monthly challenge and learning and growing and doing that. But this was also the year that I finally, became a part of Being Libertarian. Well, I should say I first became a part of Think Liberty. Started off just with the writing stuff there, and then I started to learn how to do the podcasts and how to get into this medium for getting ideas and concepts out there to people. Learned a ton about SEO and social media and marketing stuff and website design and a whole bunch of stuff that I never thought that I would learn in a way that was anything other than abstract. Like, I thought I might learn about it just because it's something interesting to know, but I never thought that I would learn it in a way where I would end up using it every day based on, these extra things that I've taken on or these other ideas that I've had. So 2018 was a big year of growth for me, especially taking on the roles that I've taken on in Think Liberty, and then it expanding to the roles that I now have after our merger with Being Libertarian and all the stuff that we do there, plus all the nice and exciting stuff that we've got planned for you guys for 2019. All three publications have a ton of things in the works for what they're going to bring to you guys, the audience, in 2019, so definitely keep your eyes out for any exciting announcements or changes that come up that way. Getting off the topic of me, though, and going back, for the people that did send it in, I do want to give a thanks to Thomas Kilroy, like I said, our background guy that does all the editing for our podcasts for us and basically makes the show not sound like utter trash. So he sent one in saying that he was going to take something up in December. He sent it a little bit later on when he picked up on the idea, but there was something he was going to tackle. And also Lacey Stanfill, she had sent one in to me as well right at the beginning of the month saying that, it inspired her a little bit to take on this idea and really dig into something for December. I'm not going to go through the particulars of what the challenges were, but it was a great challenge to take on and one that's definitely going to lead to positives in life. So I definitely want to thank you too for actually sending something in and, saying what it is that you're interested in taking this challenge on. And I definitely look forward to hearing to you guys as well as some of the other listeners out there once January rolls around. But I digress. Another thing I want to say about 2018 is that it was a very interesting year overall. And I say that in the sense that there was a lot going on. There was a lot of things that changed, but I don't know if it's just me. It seemed that nothing really changed. And it got to the point where time's progression didn't quite seem to register the way that it normally would register. I mean, I'll give a great example for this. We had an Olympics this year where the Tide Pod challenge and the Ugandan knuckle memes and all that sort of stuff, that happened in January. That took place this year. That wasn't something that took place like a year or two ago, like was in my mind for the longest time. That happened this year. So time just seemed to be a little on the slow side for some reason this year. And I think that was because as a society and just the world in general, we've been on a constant path towards normalization of things. Even something as ludicrous as, well, the 2016 elections that we had with Donald Trump, of all people, taking on the presidency in the United States and all that sort of stuff. We've gotten to a point where these kinds of things happen and we just go, yeah, okay. And we just carry on. It doesn't impact us the way that these types of quasi-reality shattering concepts should. And I say reality shattering because it's one of those things where you look at it and if you separate your experiences from it, you just look at it as what it is, you go, how the fuck did that happen? But we don't really have those moments anymore. And I think 2018 was one of the first years where it really, really showed. We really saw the impact that any of these crazy and wild things could happen, and we're just not going to be impacted by it. It doesn't seem to hit us the way that these kinds of ideas and these topics used to hit us. We just roll with the punches, see that it happens, and we just consider it, yeah, times are crazy, and we move on. And I think that kind of takes some of the fun out of life. Obviously, as you get older, a sense of wonderment starts to fade a little bit. As you get older, you're more experienced, you participate in more of life, and you learn and grow a bit more. Then, you've been through the motions a few more times. It doesn't seem as wild that something could happen. It doesn't seem to hold the same level of wonderment as something might have held for you 5 or 10 years ago. If the same sort of thing were to come across, you would be, either ecstatic or just completely dumbfounded that these sort of things happen. But nowadays, a lot of things change and a lot of things move, and they do it at such a rate that we just don't care. It's just part of the background. It's something amusing to talk about next time you meet up with some friends for a coffee. That's about all it boils down to. The reason I'm saying all that is because I think that really summarizes 2018, or at least the experience that I had with it. Tons of changes, tons of things to be excited about, a massive amount of change and shift and things that, if you had asked me about them happening years ago, I would have just been completely dumbfounded. I would have had nothing to say. I'd have been completely floored at the idea of all of these things happening, let alone inside of a single year. But this year, I'm just kind of rolling with it. It just seems to be the case of, yeah, this is what's happening. Let's get to it. Which I suppose isn't a bad attitude to have, especially like I've mentioned on previous episodes about, taking a step back and assessing things and not having a immediate emotional response to stuff. But at the same time, it still feels like that sense of wonderment is depleting a little bit more than it used to. It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing either, but it's not a bad thing. It's a more grounded thing, I suppose. I guess my thing in January for my challenge will probably be finding ways to rekindle that kind of excitement and interest in things. And I don't want the audience to take this the wrong way, like I'm, I've dulled out or I'm bored with what I do or anything like that. That couldn't be farther from the case. But I do find that when I have big changes in life, that they don't seem to strike me the way that they do a normal person. I remember a few years ago, I'd moved in with a roommate. The roommate was actually an ex-girlfriend of mine. I lived with her for about a year, I would say. Yeah, it was about a year. We did one full lease term. But I remember everyone jumping up and down. They were excited we were moving in. They thought it was so great that, we were able to have that kind of relationship after having split up before. They thought that it was amazing that, I was moving out and doing this and moving downtown. It was going to be great. And for me, it was more of a case of, all right, well, let's start planning how I'm going to move stuff. Let's figure out how this is going to work. Let's figure out the time that I got to add to my drive to work. It was a very processed thing for me, I suppose. Looking back, I kind of laugh at myself a little bit at the fact that I wasn't anywhere near as excited about, moving out and doing all these things as I should have been considered. But that was just one kind of instance like that. And like I said, I just find 2018 has kind of really been like that, not just for myself, but for a lot of the people that I talk to. People that they'll get up in arms about things, sure. There's definitely things out there that still, spark interest and excite and inspire and make people need to engage in the world around them. However, it's either a little more automated, like we've seen with that NPC meme that became popular this year. That's another one. That one's only as old as this year. It so seemed like something that's been around longer. Maybe just because it resonates so much, but that's a complete side point. It's just something I noticed is one of those things where people get excited about things still, and that's great. But it's the wonderment aspect. We've reduced massive breakthroughs in science and massive changes to, neat. And then we move on. And I don't think that that's the best approach that we can have. One of the earliest pieces I wrote for Think Liberty was a little piece on novelty, the beauty of novelty. In it, I used an example of the guy that invented the pet rock. Very simple idea. He took rocks, he put googly eyes on them, he made a hilarious little how to raise your pet rock booklet, shoved in a box, and sold it for $4, which in nominal dollars would be like selling it for like $20. This guy sold rocks in a box with a little guidebook for $20 a pop in today's money, and he became a millionaire from it. Why? Because of the beauty of the novelty. The problem is we consume so many novelties now that we don't even stop to register how fantastic these novelties can be. And I think, again, 2018 really embodied that, a decent portion of it. We already knew what arguments were going to look like. We already knew what moves were going to look like. Whenever these new breakthroughs or new changes came along, it just became something that we picked it up, we added it to our repertoire, and we moved right along with life. So if there's one thing, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I never follow them. I have tried doing them before, and like most people, I usually fail by about third week of February. I've just completely failed or given up on the topic. I'd rather do it monthly, because at least then if I fail on trying to learn something or trying to change something, then I can restart on the 1st. With a New Year's resolution, I got to wait all the way till December to try it again. Or at least that's kind of what I've tricked my mind into thinking to justify being lazy about New Year's resolutions. Anyway, I don't follow them. That's kind of, I guess, I'll cut myself off here because I could prattle for a little bit longer here. But I guess that kind of just summarizes the 2018 as I've seen it so far. It wasn't really a good year. It wasn't really a bad year. Well, I shouldn't say it wasn't a good year. A lot of positive stuff did happen. There was a lot of other things that took place, of course, but overall, I think it was a long year. I don't mean that in a positive or negative way. Just it was a long year. And I look forward to 2019 for the ability to kind of jump ahead, dive into all these things that we're looking to do and all the things that I personally want to kind of accomplish as the year goes on. And I think that about summarizes things for the previous year and, just kind of wanting to jump into 2019, like I said there. So I'll leave things off by saying I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and for those who I missed to wish it to, a Happy Hanukkah for that's just passed. Again, I apologize for not getting that out earlier or saying that on a previous episode, but Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Crazy Kwanzaa, and a very solemn Ramadan. No, sorry. Just for some reason, it reminded me of the Krusty the Krab scene from The Simpsons where he goes through that whole thing. Ignore me. Sometimes I say things for my own amusement. Sometimes it's amusing to others. Other times I'm the only one that laughs, and that's okay because I say it for me to laugh. Anyway, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I wish everyone a Happy New Year, since, of course, I won't be having an episode next week. One thing I will say, of course, is that next week, the episode that would have been coming out for the 27th, that is actually my birthday. Fun fact, I'm one of those December babies, and that will be my 28th birthday. Don't know why I had to think about that for a second. That sounds really weird when you have to think about your own age. But anyway, yeah, that'll be my 28th birthday there. So I'll accept all of your well wishes for my birthday. I can already hear them now. I'm just going to assume that everyone that listens to this episode is wishing me a happy birthday. So thank all of you for that. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And if you liked what you heard and you'd like to hear more, I'll see you in 2019.